And thank you for having me here tonight. It's a pleasure to be here in Ireland with some of the finest and the brightest brains from not just Ireland, but all around the world. I'm glad to be here tonight and speaking to you. As a writer and a speaker, I'm known as Kid Gupta. And tonight I'm here to speak to you on something which is very dear to your heart, I'm sure, success. When I was originally given the topic, I was asked to speak on success. The first thing that came to my mind was, how about degree of success as one of the topics? And I would say that initially it brought some skepticism with it. The title degree of success was taken as a title that some people thought would scare students away from going to college and encourage them to quit if they were going to college and getting educated. But it's quite the contrary. I don't have any intention of challenging the academic institution here tonight. I think academic institution is doing what it is supposed to do and what's on its agenda. The reason why an academic institution cannot give you a degree of success is because it's not on the business plan or the agenda for the school. And I'm here tonight to discuss with you some of the fundamentals or some of the principles that I have applied in my professional life as an engineer, when I worked as an engineer, as an entrepreneur, when I was a young entrepreneur in my early 20s, and now as a writer and speaker, and how that has helped me achieve or get to a level of success which is defined by my own definition, how that has really helped me achieve that. A couple of things that I recommend to audiences, no matter where I speak around the world, is number one, refrain from identifying yourself with the labels that you normally do in your daily life. If you're an engineer, an arts major, musician, dancer, politician, whatever that might be, black, white, brown, the car you drive, the country you belong to, the language you speak, anything that you have in your mind with which you identify yourself, try not to identify yourself for the next 60 or 90 minutes in your mind with those labels as I share my experiences. And there will be things that will be going in your mind when you try to relate to my experiences and yours. The reason why I say that is Soren Kierkegaard once said that once you label me, you negate me. I've been given different labels. I've been labeled a life coach, motivational speaker, transformational coach, inspirational speaker, teacher. The trouble is that once I accept any label that someone else gives me, then I limit myself to follow the rules and the norms of that label. I'm supposed to be that label. So that label becomes more important than me. But tonight I'm here only to share my experience as a writer and a speaker with you, and nothing more. I'm not here to change your world. I'm not here to save the world or transform you or do any of that. I'm just here as another person, as another speaker who's just sharing his point of view and his life experiences. So refrain from using any of the labels for the next 60 or 90 minutes. And the second thing that I recommend to the audiences that is also very helpful is to have an open mind and an open heart. An open mind is permeable to the infinite knowledge that is available in all of the universe. Anything that is available as knowledge, an open mind is the only mind that can absorb or let it through. And the way you do that is by having an open heart. If you have an open heart, only then you can experience, have the true, real experience of that knowledge that comes into that open mind. Alan Watts once said that you can get wet from the word water. And I understand what these words really mean is, if you were thirsty and I kept saying the word water, 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 I call it H2O, 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 that's not going to quench your thirst. It's the experience of water itself is what you will need in order to quench your thirst. So go for the real experience, go for the true experience, which can only come to you when you refrain from identifying yourself with any labels, have an open mind which is permeable to the infinite knowledge, and an open heart, so that you can have a genuine experience of what we talk about here tonight. Man thrives, oddly enough, only in the presence of a challenging environment. I read this quote written by L. Ron Hubbard, and the first thing that came to my mind was, if I need to use this quote in front of an audience, I should tweak it. Otherwise, I'm going to have a parking lot conversation with all the ladies sitting here tonight. Instead, I would say, human thrives, oddly enough, only in the presence of a unique, challenging environment. Man or a woman, independent of what label you identify yourselves with, whether you're black, white, brown, Asian, American, engineer, musician, it doesn't matter. Every single human being has an innate desire to thrive. Synonymous to thrive is grow, flourish, prosper. And every single one of you who's sitting here tonight, without a doubt, has this desire of flourishing and growing and thriving. Your presence here is an evidence of your desire to thrive. And thriving is very distinct from surviving. Under Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the physiological and the safety needs, which are at the bottom of the pyramid, are the needs that every single human being, no matter how rich or poor you are, we all have the basic need of food, water, shelter, and the need to feel safe. But beyond that, there's also a need that every human being has, and that is the need to thrive, grow, and flourish in our personal relationships, professional career, and social life. And oddly enough, this desire to thrive is accompanied with what I called unique challenges. Why unique? Take a look around. Look at the person who's sitting next to you right now. The color of their hair, their eyes, their nose, shape of their nose, their skin color. Every single thing about them is unique. Biology is a science of exceptions. So it's a unique science that made every single one of us exceptional. Every single one of us is unique. And it is not just in our physical characteristics that biology made us unique, but everything intrinsic, everything that is internal, that the eyes cannot see, even that is unique about us. And I say this because our journey in our personal relationships, professions, all of that is so unique to us. No two stories are going to look alike. I often tell this, that no two people, no matter how closely you're related, even if you are born from the same mother, you are going to have a unique blueprint. We all have our own unique blueprints, which is a print of our relationships, our family, our professions, and everything about us is unique. So if everything that is intrinsic and extrinsic that is unique about us, how can the challenges that we have, how can those challenges be same across the board? Those challenges have to be unique as well. I'd like to share a story of a unique challenge that I read. In the early 1900s, the appetite for sushi just exploded on the island of Japan. This caused a scarcity of fish around the island. To keep up with the demand of the restaurants, the fishermen had to drive farther away and take their small boats to bring back fish. So the fishermen drove long distances and brought back fish in their small boats and small tanks and supplied to the restaurants. The fishermen thought that that was perhaps the answer. Disappointed, the fishermen heard back from the restaurants. The restaurants told the fishermen that the fish they provided had a very dull taste to it. Because the fishermen were taking their small boats and driving long distances and bringing back these small tanks on the boats crowded with fish, most of the fish was just pretty much dead before they even got to the harbor, and lack of oxygen was giving it a dull taste. So now the fishermen not only had a challenge to find fish, but also find fish that was lively and excited to become sushi. Most fishermen thought that one of the best options would be to buy bigger boats with refrigerators and go long distances. So most fishermen bought bigger boats with refrigerators, except two, named Iwai and Nono. These two fishermen kept fishing their old-fashioned way. When all the other fishermen got their fish supply and provided it to the restaurant, they thought they perhaps found the answer this time. Disappointed, the fishermen heard back from the restaurants and were told that frozen fish was not the best choice to make sushi. And for anyone who is a sushi lover here in the audience would know that frozen fish really is not very appetizing for sushi. As all the other fishermen continued struggling with their challenge of finding ways to get fish and also lively and excited fish, Iwai and Nono continued fishing and one day heard back from the restaurants. They were told that the fish they provided was perhaps the best tasting fish or made the best tasting sushi. So they should continue doing whatever it is that they did. Iwai and Nono both smiled at each other. That was the day they knew they had found the answer to the challenge that everyone else was still struggling with. Earlier that day, when Iwai and Nono went fishing, Nono had caught a shark. He decided to throw that shark in the same tank as the rest of the crowded fish despite of Iwai telling him no. Well, the shark got to eat some of the fish from the overcrowded tank of salmon and tuna. The rest of the fish made it lively and excited back to the harbor, making great appetizing sushi. So what we learned from this story is that if you have the innate desire of growing and flourishing, then challenges, unique challenges, are inevitable. There's no running away from challenges if you want to thrive. When people ask me that, how can I eliminate challenges? Well, the only answer I have for them is abstinence. Why don't you practice abstinence? Go live in the mountains by yourself. And even that's not guaranteed because you might die of starvation, you might die of cold weather, you might die of have challenge of wild animals attacking you. Let's talk about profession. When you guys go work in the real world, professional world, or even if you're doing your own thing, you're an entrepreneur, you will have challenges. Some of you will have unique challenge of your boss not liking you. Someone will have a challenge of not liking their boss. Someone could have a challenge of not being heard. Someone being rejected. And there's so many, the list could go on and on. There are so many unique challenges that some of you would face while others won't. But I call these all as unique. And there's no running away from these so-called professional challenges as well. As an engineer, I face these challenges. As an entrepreneur, I did. As a writer and speaker, I still continue to do. But if I have the desire of thriving, if I want to grow in what I'm really passionate about in my profession, then obviously I have to face these unique challenges. So if there's no eliminating of these challenges, what can be done to these challenges that make it difficult for us to accomplish what we really desire in our professions? This is where rewiring your brain comes into play. Remember, we talked about thought, that you're only a thought away from finding a solution to a challenge. If you take a look at every single thing that you experience outside in the physical world, and not just outside in the physical world, but also everything on the inside, it's all a creation of a thought. The iPhones that we use, the Androids, the games, the clothes we're wearing, even you, the person who's sitting here, is also a result of your thoughts. Your parents' thought resulted in you. So what we need to tap into is the fundamental, the very basic thing which creates all our experiences in the physical sense and in the non-physical sense, is our thoughts. Our thoughts are what create our experiences through our actions and words. So in order to change the experience that I'm having, whether it's pleasant or an unpleasant experience, a positive or a negative experience, no matter what you call it, if I want to change that experience, I must go back to the thought that it's originating from.